In Montgomery County, there are a ton of different housing options. And if you've got the money, one of the best ways to live is to build your own home so you can have whatever you want. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a home currently in production on Lake Conroe. Stay tuned. So in this video, we're talking about what it takes to build a custom home from beginning to end. And it starts with getting the right builder. So we've got a great one here. This is Scott with S Gentry Custom Homes, who is in the process of building what is going to be an absolutely beautiful house when it's done. So Scott, where do you start the process?
Well, you have to start with the land.
Get your land, your own land.
It's going to dictate a lot of what you can do with the house and the size and how you lay it out. And usually if people come to me and they do not have land yet, the first thing I advise them to do is find a good realtor to help guide them in that process. You know, usually the realtor knows where everything is and what's going on and what's different about each neighborhood. And so I think you start there.
They come with an idea for a house. Can you just build it on any type of land?
It could present challenges if the land has an extreme amount of slope left to right or front to back. You can usually overcome that with fill dirt. It just comes with a cost. So that's something to be mindful of when looking for land is, you know, how much slope does the land have? And a lot of times in acreage situations, it may be hard to see if it's heavily wooded.
You can't see the trees through the forest.
Do you actually consult the client as to what type of land to get? I know a realtor has to buy it, but do you let them know, here's what you're going to need, this type of land if you're going to build this type of property?
Yeah, you can give them some direction. It can be a little tricky if they don't have a set of plans yet, which I don't normally advise somebody getting a set of plans drawn until they have a piece of property, because it can end up having you spend some money in some areas that you might have to spend again.
Stop spending all our money!
But what I usually have them do is let the realtor guide them to some of their top picks. And then if they want to have me consult on what I think about these pieces of property, it's usually a good time to bring me back in to give them some guidance at that point.
Okay, so you have the land. What is the next step?
The next step is going to be probably start drawing your plans. Also, you're going to want to, at that point, maybe employ an engineering company, somebody to come out and do borings. Boring! On the property that can be sent to a lab and analyzed. No engineer can really do his work until they have an analysis of the soil. So I usually advise people to go ahead and get their soil analysis done while they're drawing their plans to kind of help speed the process along in concert.
So with plans, are you meaning they just grab a cocktail napkin and write down what the house looks like, or do they go to an architect?
That's a good question. It's not a bad idea to start with a cocktail napkin if you have some ideas.
Anything you've sketched on a pizza box or cocktail napkin?
Another thing you can do is look at plans online that you like some aspects of. Because usually if you can go to an architect with an idea to start from, it really helps the both of you get your perspectives in line.
And then once the plans are made, they go to the city for approval?
If it's a city, yes, you'll need to go. Usually you'll have at least a neighborhood, you know, what they either call a property owners association or a CIA or something like that you'll have to get your plans through.
I approve this.
Okay, so plans are drawn up, engineering is done, soil is tested, plans are now approved.
Approved.
Where do you start from there?
Usually we would come out if the lot has trees and things like that on it. We'll go out there with the customer, mark out what trees they want to save.
Trees are people too! Save this tree!
Then we come in there, clear the trees. Once that's all done, we'll come in there and depending on the slope of the property, do our site work, which is bring in dirt. Sometimes the engineer will require that you excavate some of the soil that's there, depending on how much what they call elasticity it has.
That means being flexible.
Which is what has the tendency to break slabs. You'll take that out if it's required, bring in the dirt that they do require you to put it on. And once you do that, it's your time to build the foundation.
Okay, so pour the foundation, then next step, framing?
Correct. And back to engineering, you can take the plans and have an engineer engineer the framing. That's something that I'd say maybe 20 or 30% of the people do. A lot of people will just rely on the lumber supplier to do the engineering for them because the people that are supplying the material usually have requirements about what the material's limits are.
You trust the supplier?
So that's one of two ways you can go when it comes to the framing.
Okay, framing's up. Actually, I see we've got sheetrock laying all over the
Mhm.
place, so I guess that's about to go in.
Correct.
What else had to be done before you actually put the walls up?
So once the framers are pretty much done, we have the plumber come in and he takes all of his piping that needs to be hidden behind the walls and does all that, which is your vent pipes, hot water, cool water, all that's done. All the valves for the showers are in. The AC equipment is put in the attic. All the ducts are run to the bedrooms that they belong in. And then the electrician puts all his wires behind where the sheetrock will be. They're finishing up insulation today, and then we can go right over the top of that with sheetrock.
I noticed that there's already a roof. I flew my little drone over
Yeah.
to take a look at what we have so far, and there's already a roof on there. When did that step happen?
Usually we like to put the roof on right after the plumber and the air conditioning contractor make all of their roof penetrations.
Okay.
That way, when the roofer comes to do his shingle work, nobody's coming behind him cutting any holes in his work.
So that was pretty much the last thing that was done to get us to this point.
That's correct.
Next to sheetrock,
Mhm.
what happens from there?
Then we'll come in, we'll do our trim, which is your baseboards, your door trim, your interior doors, crown moldings, those kind of things. And then depending on if the person wants custom cabinets built on site or custom cabinets that we have built off site and then installed, we will spray all the trim and interior doors and come install the cabinets that were built off site. If the cabinets are built on site, we'll do all the trim doors cabinets at one time.
Where do inspections come in?
Well, it depends again on the location of the house. If you're in a city, you're going to get inspections from that city or that entity. They're going to make sure you're up on your electrical building codes, etc. Out here where we're building, there is no governing body that requires an inspection. And in these situations, we do encourage homeowners to get their own third-party inspectors so they have peace of mind and there's full accountability.
I'm looking out for you here.
The average person who's building a home, they don't really understand all that goes into it, but they are very involved when it comes to all the shiny finishes and things
Totally.
like that. So when does that happen?
I think it starts to take shape once your cabinets and trim are painted. Those are kind of pretty big items as far as eye candy is concerned. And then a lot of the stuff that happens in succession also has a big impact, like your countertops. That usually happens in a day, maximum 2. And then right behind that comes tile work, and then your plumbing fixtures and hardware and front doors. All of those things start happening in pretty rapid succession. It's really starting to look like the home you're dreaming about.
Now I'm starting to see it.
Okay, so obviously we're using this house as a backdrop that you're building right now. What can you tell us about this house specifically?
Well, it's roughly, I want to say 4,300 square foot living. There is 5 bedrooms and 4.5 baths in the main house. We're standing in the pool house, which also has its own full bathroom and kitchenette. It's a little over 8,000 square foot total covered. It's got a very large, patio and an oversized garage.
Okay, and then for a house like this, how long does it take from somebody comes to you with the idea to the completion date? How long would that be?
You can't take forever.
That can vary depending on, some people can move through the plan drawing process relatively quickly. And some people go back to the drawing board, so to speak, many, many times. So, that can cause an issue as far as timing. Usually I tell people about a year from the time we break ground as far as the build time goes. If we can do better, we always like to. It behooves everybody for us to move at, a healthy pace.
Okay, we are in the finished product now. It's been just under a year.
Correct.
Since we broke ground, just like he said earlier, right around a year from beginning to end. And now there's nothing left to do but admire the handiwork. Let's take a look. Scott, thank you so much for letting us join you on this journey from building a custom home beginning to end on beautiful Lake Conroe. If you're thinking of building a custom home yourself, as you can see, you cannot get better than S Gentry Custom Homes. So reach out to Scott. He builds homes anywhere in the Montgomery County and surrounding areas, and he'll do you right. If you're looking to buy property to build that custom home, reach out to me, Jeff, at Jeff West Properties, at the information below. If you want to learn more about one of the fastest growing areas in America, Montgomery County, Texas, make sure to subscribe to the Conroe Living Channel, where you can learn everything about what makes this area so special. Here's a video to get you started.